Hello.
Hi there.
Happy Friday or Saturday, depending on where you are.
Still Friday here.
Yay. And well, we're recruiting more people. If anyone wants to host a session and you have your own Zoom, so one of us doesn't have to start the session, please let us know, because more time zones doing it, the better. I think Beth Ann and Kirsten Carlson.
I haven't got a date with Kirsten, but she's really keen. She is the lady who I learned about cyanometers from, and she's got a lot of experience in the field. She's an expeditionary artist, and she uses her cyanometer in the field. So she's keen to host one in a European time zone. She's in Germany.
Great.
And what time difference are they from us? About
That would be
8 hours ahead?
I'm 7 hours from London, from Greenwich.
Oh.
So, and where are you right now?
Yeah.
So it's probably another hour or two. I'm not sure for Germany.
Okay.
I think they're 1 hour ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. Sorry.
All right. Well, let's see. It's 3:01. Let's just start rolling slowly in. Thank you guys for coming. Who's new? Who didn't come to the first one? Raise your hand. So got a couple of new folks. So Lisa, wonderful. So what? I'm Roseanne Hanson and Beth Ann Burton, wave, and Deborah Kahn, there, waving. We sort of cooked this up in an email exchange, I think, or Facebook exchange after the Wild Wonder conference, thinking, we were all kind of crazy batty for Skyscapitos and then weather and sky viewing and just learning everything we can. So we had our first meetup a few weeks ago. It's always going to be really casual. It's not a workshop or lesson. It'll be a lot of sharing. The only guidelines we'll say is when we start kind of sharing everything is everybody be mindful of time. And, if somebody needs to break in and say, hey, we need to, there's 8 more people who need to share, we're going to use the raise hand feature. Just, don't mind, we might have to break in and say, sorry, we need to cut you off. So, just be mindful of that. We'll see how many people we get. And then that'll determine how much time we have for everybody.
Roseanne, does everybody know how to get to the raise hand feature?
Why don't you let us know? Because it's different on each device, so depending on the device.
Okay. Well, I'm on a Mac and mine is under reactions.
So down at the bottom under reactions is the raise hand feature. So I'll say raise hand, and then we can see you, and what that does is pop you up to the gallery at the top. So then we'll see who wants to share. On an iPad, I think you have to go to the upper right, and there's probably a ... Whoever's using an iPad can share that.
Yes, there is. That's the ... feature.
The ellipse. I think it's so great. And we'll just I think today what we're going to do, I think Beth Ann's going to share. She did another type of cyanometer. I'm going to put a link in the chat to I did one and did a tutorial kind of thing, because I wanted to see how it went. And then those.
We need to buy more.
We need what? Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay, and then Deborah did one using colored pencils. Yay!
And I posted mine on Padlet also.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. We have, and this is new, guys. I am bouncing over right now. I'm going to put a link. We have on, if you haven't heard of it, it's called Padlet. I have a Skyscapito dedicated community sharing page now. It's live. It's very easy to use. You can throw things up instantly. So it'll come up on a browser. So you'll have to toggle back and forth, but I just put that in the chat. and that we shared our our cyanometers. And there's also a place if you want to share. Oh, great, Rhoda, thank you. Some Deborah shared their images of skies and clouds. So
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Roseanne.
no, go ahead.
It's really cool.
I like Padlet. It's super easy to use, and you can make comments and like things. And yet it's not like a social media monster. It doesn't take over your life. So you can use it on your terms, and it's great. And it's just for our group. So great.
Roseanne, could I make one more comment about it?
Thank you. Yeah.
You will come in as anonymous if you don't register. And I think that's perfectly fine if you don't want to register, but I would suggest you put your name in your post then, so we know who did the post.
Yes, I noticed that. So thank you for reminding us. Yeah, it'll come up anonymous if you don't register, but you don't have to. Just put your name, first name, or use a pseudonym. We don't care. So.
Is it necessary to download the app, or
no,
you just go through the browser? Okay.
It's just on the browser. That's what I like about it. And then it embeds into our Skyscapito website. So you can look at it there. You don't even have to open another page. So everything's all in one place. So it'll be a fun thing. We'll see if it gets too unwieldy, we'll have to break it into sections, but we'll see. We're trying it for now. And it's really inexpensive. So let's see. So Deborah, do you want to show us yours?
Sure, I'll show it to you live, and then
let me spotlight you. Hold on.
Okay,
everybody,
there it is live. And I just kept it at the 16, the 0 through 15, because of doing the using the pencils. And what I used was Artesia watercolor pencils, but I didn't put water on it. I started at one, there I am, and I just did one layer all the way around, and then I continued. And I did use a paper burnishing tool that you use for charcoal, to blend charcoal, to make it a little smoother. I started out with watercolor paper. I knew that wouldn't work. Oh, look at that. I can look right here. Much easier to see than peeking around the side. In any regard. So then what I ended up using was 96-pound multimedia paper. And it's a little floppy. The wind was tipping it over, but I thought it was great fun. I don't recall who came up with the idea first, if it's Bethan or somebody else, but this is really neat. Oh, one other comment. I noticed that if I looked straight up, the sky was much darker where I'm at than if I looked at the horizon. I assume that's because there's more moisture particles between me or along the horizon than straight up. So the other thing was that we have a lot of marine layer and June gloom and a lot of fog, especially in the summertime. And so I'm going to make one in grays too and see what that would be like. So anyhow,
that's a great idea. I was talking with Evia Moore about that, and she was saying how, she can go weeks without seeing blue, and so she said, well, we'll just do one in gray, so you could anyone could do the same thing, and wanted to also just kind of re-emphasize to everyone, maybe just rewind back a little bit. And let me just share what the science is behind the cyanometer. And this was, Bethan kind of brought this to our attention. I think Melinda's done this. Lots of us have, lots of people have shared it, but there's so much going on. It's easy to miss all this. So it was developed a long time ago in 1789. And it was actually an experiment by a Swiss geologist, meteorologist, Horace Benedict de Saussure. to measure the blueness of the sky because he wanted to test his theory that the more moisture, water vapor, or particles, could be dust, is in the air, the paler it appears to us because the way light enters the atmosphere, it's scattered by those particles. And it's true. So he was correct all those years ago without having mass spectrometers to see all this stuff. And you can read more about that. I wrote up a whole lot more about it. It was used by quite a few scientists, including Alexander von Humboldt in the 1700s on his voyages in the Americas. And I tested mine. I've been walking around, testing my sky with the humidity changes. And I have a handheld, my wonderful husband bought me a Kestrel meter, which is like your portable weather station, for my birthday. And so we have relative humidity and it was working. So like number 6, it was like about 47% humidity, which is about right. So it's really cool. The science works. But you can also use them for like, if you're sketching or painting your sky, like matching, okay, it was number 6 over here, but it was, number 12 higher up, which it would be. And so you can match that. So you can, and make lots of different colors. So any other comments or thoughts before we kind of get to everybody else's sharing, just general thoughts about this? Valerie?
Yeah, I must have missed something, but I think I figured it out from your comment about the relative humidity. So each segment equals approximately 6.7% increase in humidity as you work your way around the wheel, starting with 0% humidity to 100% humidity.
Yeah, depending on how many sections you can make as many sections as you want.
Right.
Saussure did, was it Bethan 52?
Yeah,
I think that's right. Yeah.
53.
50, yeah, including the 0. I think I'm not sure.
But however many you have, you just divide that by 100, and then that gives you the increase for each.
Yeah, and it's very, it's an estimate. It's not, it's not an exact measure, but it was really close. It surprised me. Remember, clouds, the whitest, that's the most moisture because there's so much, the water is condensing into big puffy or skinny bits, and that scatters light in the most directions. So we have that, we're not seeing any of the spectrum there.
Oh, so the white would actually be 100.
No. Oh, yes, it's the most humidity.
Right.
Correct.
So you'd have to go the opposite way. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I misheard that.
Thank you.
Sherry, yes.
Hello. I thought it was interesting that you started with a light wash on the whole wheel and went darker. And then Beth Ann started with the darkest and went lighter. Is that because you're on the other side of the equator?
I'm not so sure.
Just to do it backwards.
Maybe this is a good time for me to show my.
Yeah, let me spotlight. That's a great one.
That made me smile. I'm going to share. I'm going to share what I've done. So I made a few, and I did it both ways. This is the very first one that I made, and I did the numbers on the back, and I realized this is not a great thing to do because when you hold it up to the sun, the numbers, you can see the numbers. So I would recommend doing it like this with the numbers here. But with this one, I did, I started darkest, and I just added a little bit of water to each one, to each time to lighten the wash. And I was really happy with that one. And then I did this, and this feels really much closer to the original. And I did this the other way. So I started with a very light wash, this much, and I washed it over the whole thing. And then I let it dry. And then I moved up one square and I washed it again. And it made this incredible, very, very subtle gradient. And I'm really pleased with this one, although this took 3 days because you have to wait for it to dry. And you also have to have really thick paper because you're washing it. You know, I did 32 sections on this, so you're washing it 32 times, so it gets a lot of battering. So you want to use really thick paper for this one. But so you can do it that way or that way. And then I did another little. So this one is.
Hey Becca, what colors did you use for the big one?
Yeah, these ones are both straight up Prussian blue. It's really saturated here, and I just used Prussian blue, pure over Prussian blue. So and by the time I got to about here, I had all these extra squares and it wasn't making any difference. So I would say something like 28 was the max. So that both of these are Prussian blue. This one's manganese blue hue with a bit of ultramarine. And so this one matches my sky much more closely, and this matches de Saussure's original one, because he did Prussian blue. I was just doing that as an experiment. So I think this method of like grading it, doing a very subtle light wash, then doing it again and again and again, leaving a space, makes an amazing, really beautiful gradient. It naturally did this. And these ones, you have to be a bit more deliberate, okay, figuring it out. This one really naturally makes this lovely gradient, but it takes a lot of time and you have to do it with very thick paper. So that was my experience. So yeah, you can do it both. We didn't do it like that because I'm on the opposite side of the world, but that made me smile a lot. So thank you.
That's awesome. So if you would have your cyanometers to share, I'm going to switch back to gallery view here, because when I switch, because I'm recording this and I record locally to, I get higher quality video if I record locally to my computer. It actually shows the gallery as well. So raise hand if you have things to share, and then we'll take them in order. And questions as well. If you just have a question, raise your hand and we can, or share something that you've learned or what have you. So please, this is meant to be interactive and fun and learning together. Okay, so we've got Susan for split. Hi, let me, I'm gonna add spotlight for Susan. Let's see here. Oops. Uh-oh, I just lost Susan. No,
I'm still here.
Here you are. Thank you. I should have added spotlight first. Okay.
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 I still here. So I did my cyanometer, and my sky is about 10. It was the day that I made it. Presently, we've got enough smoke in the air that it's probably lighter. I did not test it yet today. And I also made one of these.
Oh, right. Explain what that is. Woohoo! A cloud catcher. Yay!
I forgot what you call it. It's
a cloud catcher. A cloud
catcher. Thank you. I just went blank. So it had a piece of plexiglass with a black, and you can probably see the reflection of everything that's going on. It's a great cloud catcher. What a marvelous idea, from craning your neck up there and then back down and up there and back down trying to paint one. I also did my Skyscapito. I've got
Oh,
I've got
nice.
it in, I got it in plastic so that I won't mess it up. With those,
Wow.
you know,
Looks
those sleeves.
amazing.
I put those sleeves on it. And I also did the color thing to show all the gradations. Oh, I should back up. There you go. And then one for sun sets, because we get so many beautiful sunsets here. But this didn't go pink enough for just using the quinacridone magenta. And I had, when I was painting these little sunsets, I had to use some quinacridone rose to get it to go pinker, because we get really pink, really orange sunsets here in British Columbia.
Is that from the smoke right now, do you think? A lot of particulates?
Oh, I know it is from our weather report has a smoke alert on it from the forest fires, right?
Yeah, those were amazing. And the cloud catcher, that was an idea shared. She wasn't able to make it today. Might know her on social media, Meadow Lark. Her first name is Candy, and she recommended to us. Let me spotlight me so I can show you this book.
Well, I got it from you.
Yeah, and
I got it from you.
And I got it from Candy. See, we're all sharing. And Eric Sloan. So if you guys want some amazing books, they are not expensive. These were written in the 40s, published in the 1950s. Eric Sloan was of the Hudson River School. And he is delightful. I've been reading these. They're done cartoon style, like Mark Simmons style. And he has a delightful way of writing, but he was a complete weather person. And here's his, he's the one who wrote about the black glass. I'm the one who called it the cloud catcher.
That's a perfect
great name.
Yeah. So I'm sure I didn't make that up. I'm sure somebody else probably used it too. But Eric Sloan, he has a ton of books. I had to get all of them. Highly recommended. In fact, really quick, let me just read something to you guys, because I know we're all cloud sky people. I read this last night and I was like,
so he just did clouds?
Oh no, he was he did something like 15,000 paintings in his lifetime. He's a very, very successful painter. This was his fun stuff, and he decided to help teach other artists how to draw clouds, because people were really bad at it back then.
They still are.
They're hard.
It's not easy.
So here's what he wrote about clouds. Clouds are not shapeless puffs. They are the garments of atmospheric waves. Therefore, they must not have solidity, but action and grace, like the folds of a robe worn by someone in action.
Wow.
And the whole book is like that.
Oh, I just got some books by Gavin, and from the Cloud Appreciation Society.
Yes.
His name is up there in my bookcase, but I got several books on identifying clouds, and the Cloud Collector's Handbook, and a few others that are just awesome. I didn't bring them to this area. They're over there anyway. Great. But they're really handy.
Thank you so much, Susan. So I'm going to remove your spotlight and go to, let's see, Pat was next. Pat Schenk, let's see. Spotlight. Okay.
Okay, this is mine. I'm half done. So I just wanted to show that I've gotten started. It's kind of hard to get the gradations right. And so, and you have to wait a while between the layers. I'm doing it like you suggested, the washes, and this is cobalt blue. So it's not, I'm finding that it's not that easy.
No, I agree. How about, Bethan said, we'll see what everyone else did. and where cobalt saturates. That'll be interesting. Mine saturated at about 8 layers, and then I had to add indanthrone because it just wouldn't take any more color.
Yeah, okay. So I think I'm getting near that point. So it'll be interesting to
You might have to augment with a darker blue.
I found that when I was doing it that way, that I had a point where just adding more, it wasn't so I started off with a very thin wash, and the wash was great up until a point, and then I had to do it with mine. I didn't add an extra color, but I just had to thicken up, so it became like I was using it like the consistency was thicker, like cream, to add those last layers. So I stopped using that thin wash at one point, and then started using a much more thick consistency with the paint. But it is tricky. You're doing great.
Oh, thank you.
Great. Let's see. Carol Morris. I'm going to spotlight. There we go. Hi, Carol. Okay. Uh-oh, there's a little bit of a lag, Carol. Can you hear us? Oh, no, her internet's gone. It looks like I'm getting a notification Carol's internet's going.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead. You're on Spotlight.
Okay. I'm waiting for broadband internet to come in the next 2 weeks. So I started with a large one.
How many are on there?
38. And what I did is I went from the system of dark to light, and I used like a syringe, and then added so many drops. And then I added, okay, so this is phthalo blue and this is cerulean. And actually for my sky, this is a little bit better. I live very close to the Potomac River. And so our skies are in this general range. So this color is better than the cerulean. But I wanted to show you a couple of different things. For people who don't like, and I use the very heavyweight 300-pound arches. And then I kind of like this style. And again, I used a tablespoon for this one, I think. So I used, or a teaspoon, a quarter of a teaspoon of water, and then added it to each one. My only warning is do not go back and try to figure out, oh, gee, that's not dark enough. Wait until it's done before you touch it. And then I did these on a strip. So you could hold it up and then decide on which way, to make it simpler. I teach pre-K through 8th grade art. So I was thinking the older students might be able to do something like this, because everybody wants a perfect circle. And this took me, hours to get it. And then another option was this one where I just graded it. And I just wanted to show you something. So we got this idea for clouds. So these are what I made up. I took some college classes. So I had like a senior project in 2020. And so what I had done is I made these little cards with tree colors, and I actually did one on skies. So it gives you, and it's really nice if you want to match the colors just like they did. So
nice. Well, great ideas. And in the chat, people were saying, great. It's sometimes you could get more values into strips and keep it in a pocket in your journal. A lot of people are using pockets like I I have a pocket in the front of my journal. That's where I keep mine. But, it's only, if I do it round, it's only 5.5 inches wide, at the max. Oh, we lost your sound. Can you guys?
You could add this onto a paint stick, which you get free at the paint store.
Yeah.
And like I said, it would be something you could have slide into your bag. This is a great idea, the circle, but this one could be easy so that you could slide it into your bag or anything like that. And like I said, I'm thinking about what you could do for students to use, or other, if you had a group that was going out and doing this. I think the strip could be easy to do on a picnic table, and you could work on it. You might not get as precise, but the little drop, using a 1/4 teaspoon of water and adding it to it, it did a pretty good job. So I think that one was the one I liked the best to get the best results.
That's a great.
I had a
tips.
lot of fun.
Isn't it fun? I think we all just started with the round one because we were sort of imitating the original science experiment by Saussure, because it wasn't about painting, it was about measuring atmospheric moisture. So now we can adapt it to our journals for other uses. That's a great idea. Hey, I wanted to thank you so much, Carol. Hey, I wanted to ask in the chat, Melinda was talking about something I wanted to get a definition for. She said she has a half sheet of yardstick taped to the inside of cover. Can you explain what that is? I can't.
Yeah, you know what? That's a typo. I have a half.
I'm like, how do you tape a half a yardstick?
Hold on. Wait, okay. It's I was answering Deborah. I have a pocket in the inside cover of my journal, and it's just I can hold it up. Hold one up here. Just like it's whatever paper I have, like cardstock.
Yeah.
So, and I just cut it in half and then kind of make an angle so it's easy. And I put, actually everything's pulled out right now. I have an extra sheet of like black paper and tan paper so that I can put it in my journal and I can use them as pages. And then I have my ruler in another pocket. So I've, kind of created what works for me for my journals. And that way I can have I don't have the cyanometer strip in this book, but I made one with the strip when I was doing a lot of dawn chorus sit spots outside, because I was watching the sky turn from like this midnight blue gradually to this beautiful sky blue. And I was painting the skies every like 10 minutes, and putting a little color dot. And I thought, having that strip would make it much easier. Than I can say it's number 10, number 12, number 15. So that's another way that you can use the color strips, is matching whatever you have in your sky. It doesn't have to be Prussian blue or manganese, right? So just experiment with what you have.
Perfect. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that.
Roseanne, you were like, a yardstick in the journal? What am I missing out? The scientific
I loved it.
tools that I need.
Really cool. I wanted to respond to Katie because she might have come in late, didn't hear the explanation at the beginning. Someone was saying, well, what's the purpose of the cyanometer other than getting a number? It was developed in the late 1700s by a geologist, meteorologist, Swiss meteorologist whose name was Saussure, who wanted to test the idea that the sky, the transparency and thus the color of the sky that was transmitting to us changed with moisture content or particle content. So, water is moisture particles. And the more moisture, the lighter the color, because the light coming in is scattered by all the particles. And there's a lot of different names for the scattering. It's either Mie scattering, MIE, or Rayleigh scattering. That's a tongue twister. And those, it's hard to tell for us which one it is, because the scattering name is based on the atomic size of the particles. So anyway, it was a scientific experiment. It wasn't an art experiment, but now we're using it also to look at the blues of our skies and just notice more. It's just fun.
Yeah,
So
I think it is a great way to start noticing more. And now that I have my eye in, now that I'm noticing that some days the sky is lighter and some days it's darker, and you can notice that it's about getting into the swing of noticing it. And now when I see a really light sky, I wonder why. And then I might check we often have bushfires or burn-offs, and if we have a bushfire day, I notice that the sky is a lot lighter. And so it gives you information like that about what's going on in the atmosphere. Is it a pollution day? Is it a fire day? Is the humidity really high? So it gets you going along that thought track.
And thinking about how light enters the atmosphere, skies, there's a lot going on up there. It's really cool. So, okay, Margaret has had her hand up for a long time. So let's see, get us off here, Bethan. Margaret, I'm going to spotlight you. Okay.
I just made mine, so I was sitting here. What I like about this is Prussian blue. Let me hold it still so I can do something. This is a Prussian blue, and this is about the color of my night sky. And we have really dramatic night skies. It's just like crazy. Because you can see obviously you can see the moon, but you can also see the different colors because we have a lot of light around. Just from the city or whatever, I'm not really quite sure. It reflects off the bottom parts reflect off the low-lying clouds. So you get pretty dramatic skies at night.
Where are you?
I haven't tried that yet, but I'm working on it.
We've got someone with background noise. Can you please, if you've got someone talking in the background, can you turn that off, please? Can you say that again, Margaret? There was interruption.
The Prussian blue, the dark of the Prussian blue, is the color of a night sky.
Yeah.
And then it gets really the reflections. When the clouds are low and you get a lot of reflection I live in a pretty populated area, so we have a lot of light coming up, and it reflects on the lower clouds and makes pretty dramatic skies at night, even with the moon out. And my daughter-in-law, she homeschools, and this year has been constellation year, so we've been outside a lot at night.
We had a question, how did you draw your circles? We had a question in the chat. I used a compass, and I'll hold one up.
Okay, I'm going to admit to this. I straight out cheated, okay?
What? There's no cheating?
It is, what's her name? She's down in Australia. She's the color woman.
Oh, Jane Blundell.
Jane Blundell on her website. This is a 16, I believe, or an 18 segmented one. So I just printed it right on watercolor paper.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. So if you print it on and then iron it, it becomes permanent.
Okay.
And then you paint on it. Don't paint, don't iron after the paint.
Okay.
It'll get stuck.
That's assuming your printer can take that weight of paper.
I just have one of those Epsons.
Okay. My printer doesn't like thick paper. Bethan, did you use a compass?
I did. I used a compass, but you can also use a ball and a smaller ball, and it's not as precise because you don't have the center point. But if you use a compass, you can draw a circle, make it a little bit smaller, draw another circle, make it very small to make the number section. And yeah,
this is a compass. If you don't know, let's see, this was Mary. If you're not familiar, it's a draftsman's tool, and there's a point and you load your whatever drawing instrument you have. In my case, it's a leopard print pencil, of course. And you put it on your paper at that point, and then it scribes a perfect circle of whatever size you want. And there's degrees marked.
To get the segments. An easy way to get the segments to be kind of even, I would say, is take a piece of typing paper, whatever size circle you want, draw it in typing paper, and then fold it to however many segments, lay it on top, and just do the dots around the outside perimeter.
Yeah, I found that if I just drew a line through the center, drew a line through the center the other way, and then I just eyeballed the middle of each section.
Just keep, it's like cutting a pie. Cut it.
It's like cutting a pie, and so then you either get I got to 16 segments. Most people have been doing 16 segments. This one I did 32 segments. But yeah, with it, I really wasn't being as precise as you could be. But it turns out, it evens out if you just eyeball it, cutting it.
There's lots of ways to do it.
I did the 360-degree one, and a quarter of the section, each one of those sections came out to 22 degrees. So that's how I got my 16 sections.
Oh, that's a great idea. Love it.
Can I just pipe in one more?
Absolutely.
Humboldt, when he was, I was reading this on his stuff. One of the things that he did is he found that the sky gets bluer as you go up to the top of the mountain. So he actually did an experiment as he's climbing up. He was doing that.
Ooh, that would be a great experiment for us those of us who are hiking and we're going from a low to a high elevation. That is a great idea. I'm going to note that and take my cyanometer and measure. That's a great idea. Humboldt was amazing.
What was that?
I think it's because the atmosphere is thinner as you're going up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's less scattering.
Less scattering of the light. Absolutely perfect. Yeah. I'll be curious what the difference is in the poles from the temperate regions to the poles, what the color difference would be. My husband and I are heading up to Barrow or Uktiaklik, Alaska at the end of the month for a research trip. So I'll check.
It's bluer.
Nice. Okay, good.
What about elevation? Elevation of the location.
Yeah, that's what Margaret was just saying, that Humboldt tested, and it was it was lighter.
It was bluer,
darker.
Right. He was able to number them off the number chart, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty. I thought it was pretty impressive. They did comment that his group that was with him wasn't too happy with him. Too long.
I love stuff like that. I'm reading Humboldt's Cosmos right now. It's really cool. Okay, let's go to Heather. Thank you so much, Margaret. There you go, Margaret. Heather, thank you.
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I'm in North County, San Diego, and so the sky, with the exception of the when we have the marine layers, kind of like what is it? Manganese blue hue most of the time, and so that's what I picked to do my. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Cyanometer. I like that. So I started out with the manganese blue hue. I didn't have any other paint on my palette, and I don't know if you can see this very well. It's a little dark. But it was at number 10 when I reached saturation with that manganese blue hue. So I threw some indigo onto my palette and did some testing, and I mixed that in, and it's a completely different color, and you can see the demarcation. So I tried to rectify that by when the whole thing was completely dry, I just took a really pale indigo wash and put it over the whole thing to try and level it out. It worked okay, but that's not how I would do this in the future. I just need to do some more experimenting with the color mixing. But it was a fun thing to do, and my sisters and I did it together on Zoom on Tuesday. I see my other sister, Maeve Heater, is sitting there with her hand raised. She's in Virginia, so she has variable skies, and my other sister, Shannon's in Portland. And she's got.
Oh, hold on, Heather. Whoever's got noise going on, can you please mute? We're drowning out Heather. Thank you. Okay. Oh my, someone's having dog issues. Please mute. I can't tell who it is. If somebody, Bethan, if you can see, then we can mute them. Okay, so go ahead, Heather, sorry.
No worries. Let's see, where was I? I don't know where I was, but I'll start with something else. Oh, I was with my sisters. We were doing it together on Zoom on Tuesday. So we all had different palettes. So we couldn't really help each other with, well, try mixing this or try mixing that. We were kind of on our own. But the way I measured it out, again, I don't know if you can see this. I need to set up lights better in here, but I've got mine penciled out. I used a compass, lots of different ways that you can get the wedges even. You can use a protractor and do it by degrees. You can also just flatten the curve with a ruler and do as Beth Ann said, just divide in each section into halves and mark it, and then just keep going. So that's how I did mine to get the wedges. Actually, I have that kind of anal personality, and they needed to be exactly precise wedges, or I wasn't going to paint them.
Love it, love it. Love it. Shall we go to is it Maeve?
It's Maeve.
Maeve. Okay, thank you. Your sister. Let's see. Spotlight, Maeve. Hello.
Okay, so I'm not my sister. And I didn't measure precisely. I didn't do anything precisely, but I did do something. As she said, Virginia has quite changeable skies. So, and I'm relatively new to paint. So what I started with actually was I wanted to be able to lift it out for clouds. So I tried the blues that I had and tested lifting. And then I was going to do it with cerulean blue because I thought that was a nice color. And my sister said, oh, that's a really hard one to work with. So I switched to manganese blue hue and did the same thing that my sister Heather did. I started, ran out of the blue around here somewhere, and she suggested indigo. So I did the indigo, but I didn't do what she did and go back and try to color it all. I said, heck, I'm happy. Good enough for me. But I didn't use a compass or anything. I just, put a hole in what looked like the middle. But I did do Beth Ann's thing where, you draw this way and then halfway and then a bunch of ones in the middle, clear across. I have a question though, 2 questions, if that's okay. One, I've noticed some people start with 0 and some people start with 1. Does it matter scientifically according to how, Sasson did things?
I don't think so. It was, 0, I would guess that it was considered the absence of value. So 0,
okay.
Where it was, but that's not really, it's really just a way, if you just standardize it for yourself, that works. If it's always number 1 for you, that works. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I love, by the way, oh, sorry.
No, go on, Roseanne. Sorry.
Just wanted to say, yay. I love to see everybody's different approaches and to emphasize that there is no one way to do anything. And I love that, that you, Maeve, she's like, nope, I don't care if it's perfect. And this was good enough for me. So it's like, yay.
But I depend on both of my sisters to help me out because they've been doing this longer than I have. So they're really great in being patient with me. The other question I have is just a kind of a simple one. You had a link to a lady, I can't remember her name, who showed how to do one, and then you did one. And I've seen different versions, but some people color it all the way through the numbers and others don't. Has anybody used it to see which one seems to be more satisfactory in the field? Because I haven't even had a chance to use mine yet.
And Beth Ann, maybe you can answer because you also were about to say something earlier too, Beth Ann.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that.
Oh dear.
I wonder if everybody could mute.
Yeah, thank you.
So that we are just hearing who's speaking. But yeah, like Roseanne said, I agree that it's something that's standardized for you. So if you're always looking at the numbers, see, I didn't use 0. I just started mine with a 1, and then I saw other people's and I thought, oh, 0, that's a good idea, but I had already done it this way. And it doesn't really matter because it's standardized for you. And so when you look at your sky, you're going to be using the same scale, and that's completely fine. I didn't paint mine all the way down to the center, and so I don't know how that would go in the field. The thing that I do know is that numbers on the back is not a good idea. I think it really won't matter. I think it's aesthetic with the whether or not to do them down to the middle. And also, as Roseanne said, it's completely, this is just everyone's like learning and doing it and learning from each other. And so yeah, that's an interesting question, but I think it's just going to be preference. So depending on whether you read it, whether you're looking at the top or at the bottom, if you were reading it looking in the center of your circle to read the number, then maybe having your colors all the way down to the middle is a good idea. I tend to look at the outside edge of mine to read the reading. So yeah, I guess it's just preference.
I'll admit, Maeve, that I was reserving the white, and then partway through I accidentally painted all the way down. It was like, so I ended up painting all the way down because you can't go back after you.
Well, one other thing is when I did this, I did it nice and big because I just did it that way. I cut out the whole sheet of paper size, and then I thought, well, that's not going to go in my journal. So then I haven't done this one yet, but I did another littler one. But now I'm thinking, I'm going to go for those strips. That idea just sounded so cool to me. So I might still try to finish this. And one thing that my sister Heather had suggested was putting the resist in between. So we did do that to make the differentiation clear.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing that.
We've got how many hands we have up, but it's 7 minutes till we're scheduled to end.
Okay, perfect. We have one more hand, so that's great.
Perfect.
That would be Valerie. Let me spotlight you if you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, so I had done a couple a while ago. I haven't cut them out yet. So the little one is cobalt blue. The larger one is manganese blue hue. And then I decided, well, not really sure what goes with my local skies. So I made some swatch charts of all the blues I have.
Ooh.
Take them outside. So I've got this one. There's another one. Here's another one for more ominous looking skies. And I learned about some things that I think would work and some that I think would not work. So much as I love the lapis lazuli from Daniel Smith I don't think that would work. It's very strongly granulating. It's nice color, but it's strongly granulating and it has a lot of gum arabic in it that kind of separates. So it's hard to work with. For doing more gray skies and clouds, I think I would probably go with Jane's Gray, possibly Sodalite. But I did find that some paints, if you use a different brand, it's a totally different color. So these are two different indigos.
Wow.
Much more green than the other one. So the greenish one is Sennelier, and the more blue one is Core, that's QOR.
Nice.
So completely different colors. Also, in cobalt teal, M. Graham is much more blue than Daniel Smith. I had thought that these might be good sky colors, but for my skies, I don't think they work that well. When I took these outside, I misplaced this one, so I haven't tried it out yet. But this one, for what I have today, my two best bets were cobalt blue. This is an M. Graham cobalt blue. But the sky that I have today, even though it's a beautiful blue sky day with nice puffy clouds, it's a more muted blue than what's here. And this here is a color called Royal Blue that's only from Sennelier, and it is not a single pigment color. It is PB 15.6 with PW6 and PB 29, so it's a mix. But this is, I think, made to be a sky color, and it is actually pretty good.
What was that again? Can you say that again?
Prizes with this test.
Which color? Which color was that again?
It's Royal Blue from Sennelier. They're the only one that make that.
PB what?
The pigments in it are PB 15:6, PW6, and PB 29, which I think
it's quite a compound color.
Yes, and it's sort of semi-opaque because of I think PW6 is a titanium white, but it is fairly close to the sky color that I have. So I have laid out a few more cyanometers I'm going to try to make. I've got two that I started here. I've got a royal blue one and a cobalt blue one here with 16 divisions. And then I'm going to make, once I've done that, a bigger one with 36 divisions. So one way to divide it up is just use a protractor. I have this handy little plastic ruler that has a built-in protractor on it, and it's great. It's just a 6-inch plastic ruler with a grid. This is a great thing to keep in the pocket of your sketchbook because it's like a multi-tool. But anyway, so that's where I am at. But it was kind of surprising to check these swatches against the sky.
Yeah.
And I'm going to probably take these with me and keep checking to see if I can, to see if the actual type of blue changes.
That would be great. Valerie, let us know and put that in the Padlet that I just shared in the chat. We have time for like one more person, and Anne just put her hand up. So let's pass to Anne.
It'd be interesting to do these disc things for leaf colors, to do some phenology.
I just had a question for Valerie, but I would like to ask it of everyone, especially if they're publishing on Padlet. It's useful to me to know what state or what part of the world you're in, because I'm in North County, San Diego as well. And I know from living in Arizona, Michigan, and Indiana that my sky is a different color. And it would be useful to me to know what colors you use for your sky and just compare whether it works for mine.
Perfect. That's a great reminder for people. When you post on the Padlet, please say where you are, what colors you used, and what process. Thank you. That's a great reminder. Also, Connie has some great observations, and that is, let's track our skies over the seasons and see how your sky hue changes, and note the relative humidity of the day and see what or your particulate count, your weather service will have all of that. So perfect. Thank you very much. What were you sharing in?
This is what I use to make my circle, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's got a rotating thing in the middle. You put
Oh yeah.
here and you make,
Is that also a protractor?
It's a circle helix guide.
What's it called?
It's called a circle helix guide or a helix circle guide. You can buy them on Amazon.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I got it long enough ago that I couldn't remember what they called it, but it's useful.
And that's flat and goes in your pocket. So
yeah, it's flat. You can sit it there and then just rotate the center, and it's got several smaller circles, so it's useful for journaling too.
Yeah, love it. Okay, Danny, do you have a comment?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to share really quickly a cyanometer that I've had for a while, and it's a cyanotype. So it's made by a printmaker in the Canary Islands. And what I really like about it is because the colors are by exposure to the sun. And so each one is timed and the exposure is, removed.
Wow.
And
everyone's going,
that's pretty
it's quite a work of art.
Do you have any, can you put any info on that in the chat for us?
I will. Yeah, I will. And then my protractor, I just wanted to share, is really neat because it has the compass rose on it as well.
So neat. Yeah. Oh my gosh, so many great tools. I love this. This is so
That's
fun.
it.
If you could type that in the chat. And guys, I will, I save the chat and I do a transcript of it on our page for the recording. So you can go back and get all that stuff. So also, if you would like to save the chat, if you don't know on Zoom, if you go down, open the chat right now and go down to the very bottom where it says to everyone, there's an ellipse button and you can download the chat right now. If you can't wait and you want all this information right now, download it now. Although wait for Danny to put her info for her cool thing. Oh. And then I'll just go ahead. If you've got things to add verbally, Carol and Valerie Kellum, I'm going to spotlight both of you. So Carol, if you want to say something, then Valerie real quick, that would be great.
I just put in a link or a suggestion for a book. I don't know if you've mentioned this one before, but it's called The Secret World of Weather by Tristan Gooley.
Yeah.
And he has a whole chapter on clouds and what the clouds mean, and extraordinarily interesting.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And how about Valerie Kellum? Yes.
Well, I was just thinking if, we're going to be doing maybe daily or whatever logs of our cyanometer, it would be interesting not just to put what the recorded relative humidity is, but also maybe go to purple air and indicate what your air quality was for that day, because so many of us are, socked in with smoke right now. So it would be interesting to do a little bit more metadata besides just the humidity with the color of the sky.
Good point. Good point. And as we get farther into the Anthropocene, we will see more and more changes like that. Europe is burning, Spain is burning. It's really interesting. Thanks, Valerie. That's a really good point. That metadata is important for our journals because we'll be referring back to these, years, decades from now, and it's important. So thank you, Susan. And then we probably should sign off because I know we told people just an hour, but go ahead, Susan.
This was just a really quick one. I usually take the first two or the last two pages of my journal and tape around two of the edges, and then I've got a pocket.
Oh. That is so great. You could also slice the front of one if you wanted it to be angled. So
well, I've also cut them in half if I wanted small pockets.
Yeah.
I usually cut the corner off so you can get in it easily.
That's a good, yeah. So
Mhm.
you're not like ripping it when you reach in. I love all these ideas. Love it.
That's all I had.
Thank you. So let's just take a minute here and can you all please take a moment and throw into the chat ideas for other meetups, like themes we can do. So I think one I want to do sometime in the future is let's do Skyscapitos with ink only, no color.
Ooh.
Ooh, no.
Ink, water, pen, ink.
Just ink. No water, just ink.
No
Someone
water, pen
else
and ink.
can do wash. I'm gonna tackle. I want to challenge us to do just ink.
No water.
No washes. No. You have to get your values with lines or hashes or squiggles or something. So
I would say, how about sunrise and sunset, maybe, as a theme.
So type these into the chat, otherwise I won't remember. So
Roseanne, while we're doing that, I wanted to mention that someone on Instagram was doing cyanometers with her daughter, and her name is Eriko. She's in Japan, and her daughter came up with the idea to do a cyanometer, a colorometer, with green for grass and brown for soil. And so her little daughter, I'm not sure how old she is, maybe 9, she was going along with the green and brown to match the soil and the grass. And I just thought that was so creative, and this is such a wonderful thing to do with children, and they have extra ideas, and so we can follow that as well, which is really fun.
That's awesome.
That's wonderful. So
I also want to say that it's just so cool that this community, like it's not every day that you come across people who say, yes, my sky is cobalt blue, or my sky is manganese blue. You know, we're very connected to that, the color and the subtleties of nature around us. And I think that's really, really cool to see. And I love hearing people say that they know this color of their particular sky. That's just beautiful.
I agree. And then to get to drill down, why is the sky blue and why is it that color blue and not this color blue? That's just so cool to look up and know what's behind it. Nice. Well,
lots of ideas are flowing in.
I see.
Oh my gosh.
This was so much fun. I'm like gonna get over to Amazon. I want some of those cool circle things.
Tools, you're obsessed with tools, right?
But only tools that it'll fit in my pocket, in my journal. I don't want to carry too much more big stuff. Trying to reduce.
I love this. I love that there are so many ideas of different ways to do it, and also that we're sorting out what works and what doesn't, and that the strips seem to be something really easy to do, especially with kids, and might be easy to carry. And so we've started off on this one way, and now we're sort of drilling down into what actually works. What works easy to carry? What works for my particular area? I love how this is going.
Yeah, fantastic. And don't forget, in the chat, I'll put it in again. There's a central place, a website where all this stuff lives. Go there to find out what's going on. The calendar's there, the Padlet is there, the recordings are there. It's a central place. You'll be on the mailing list. If you decide you're tired of skies, you can get yourself off. You can you can unsubscribe, but we got so many people, I couldn't do it manually anymore, so I had to make a mailing list. It was kind of crazy.
Roseanne, thank you for all the work you're putting into this. You've done so much organizing and so much developing of this flourishing community. So thank you.
No, it's so much fun, and it's learning. I'm absolutely obsessed with learning all this and sharing, and it's just so cool. Otherwise, I'd just be sitting in front of a computer all day. Instead, I get to run around and look at the sky and measure the humidity.
What is that? Can you show us the tool you've got?
Oh, yes. So my husband surprised me for my birthday 2 weeks ago. It's the Kestrel. It's an anemometer. And they have lots of different kinds, but it's waterproof, and it's a complete weather station. So wind speed, temperature, relative humidity, dew point. It's submersible, so there's I can stick it in water or snow. Temperature. It tracks. It tells you the barometric trend. You can calibrate it for altitude, elevation. And lots of other stuff. So it's super fun, very accurate.
That's the perfect gift for you.
Thanks to you, I got one too.
They're so fun. I use it all the time. I was out this morning. I'm chasing, it's Arizona walnut season. I'm making walnut ink. So I was out chasing walnuts, which sounds funny, but they're hard to find right now. And I was using it this morning to measure stuff. So
our walnuts are about 2 months away.
Yeah, ours come in August, and they've been very sparse this year. We didn't get rain early enough. So sweet. Okay, everybody. Well,
Roseanne,
I think
someone's asking, Valerie's asking if you can put the name of your special tool in there.
it's Kestrel is the brand, and there's a 25-year-old company at least. They were the originators of these little pocket weather stations. Super high quality, good company. They take care of you if you're have problems. It's all, it's great. It's not a cheap thing, but it's not, one of those $20 China things that's going to break and you throw in the landfill. It's something that'll last forever.
Fantastic.
Sweet.
Thank you so much, everybody.
I don't
This
know,
has
I gotta
been
look it up.
so fun.
Okay,
I'm
well,
sure
we'll
it's
be
like $150.
figuring out. Yeah, they vary. There's like 10, 20 different models. And there's models for firefighters, professional firefighters, and all sorts of very, very specialized ones. You just need the moderate range one. So sweet. Okay. We'll be finding more people to host different ones. We've got a Europe host coming. If you want to host one, let us know. If you want to host it, you will need your own Zoom account, because then Bethan and I or Deborah won't necessarily have to be there, especially if time zones are different. We don't have to get up at 3:00 in the morning. So say thanks, Deborah. Thanks, Bethan. All right, everybody.
Everyone. So nice to see you all. Have a beautiful
Bye.
evening or day.
Look at the
Nice
storm.
seeing everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.